to our own interpretation of our cultures and the places we're coming from. Why? Because usually people would talk about culture in general, no one actually cares about how people feel about their cultures and their stories, the narrative about where they're coming from. So this is what we do literally in Zaha. We just want to decompose, challenge our own narratives about our experiences and who we are, and how we are going to handle that knowledge and intelligence. It's up to us. But hopefully we'll be able to see differently, we'll be able to see more, and that would lead hopefully to more growth for us as individuals, as communities. Or maybe eventually, like some sort of judgment, suspension of judgment, and more acceptance and cohesiveness. So there's a bit of intelligence, there's a bit of growth into it, and so each experience we just tap into the personal culture of the experienced leader, which we call them maestro, but they just coordinate, facilitate, because you also have your own interpretation of who you are. And the theme for this experience today is how the definition of home evolved over time for me, and of course for you as well. So we would be doing this through storytelling, and later on by tapping into what certain ingredients mean to me. So when it comes to home, it's been always a very interesting concept to me. I've been since the age of 7, I would say, on that journey of just searching of what home is. This is literally because of war. My parents, actually my father left Palestine in the 60s to Kuwait, just escaping from the hardship that he was going through in Palestine. And so during war, they just decided to go back to their hometown. And war challenges you on who you are and takes away everything from you. So you would go to your hometown thinking that you'll be embraced, you'll be supported, which did not necessarily happen to us, because we just look different to the people living in that community, and that we as humans tend to turn our back to what doesn't look like us. So we just either attack it or just turn our back to it. But we would never have the courage just to go and explore it and see, what's behind it. So I experienced pain, I would say, for 15 years trying to fit in, and the idea of just returning to a physical place because your parents were just born in it doesn't necessarily mean something to me, because I've experienced returning to the place called home and didn't feel home. So then I went to the UK to pursue my education, and then again there I would say I had the chance to examine my story and what does it mean for me to be Palestinian. And so when people would approach me and they wanted to ask me about occupation, I had no interest to talk about it, because I had a different story, I would say, with the community I used to live in. So but there, at least, I had the courage to challenge the idea that it's okay for me not to be just Palestinian, period. There's much more to me, So then I went back to Palestine, and if it was too small for me, tried to go back to Kuwait when I was born, tried to be in different places, different outlets, and still it didn't feel home. So okay, if it's not the place I was born in, it's not the place where my parents were born, where could home be? Then I moved to Dubai. I would say I had 2 different experiences with Dubai. The first one, me just passing time, thinking that I would leave this place very soon. So I spent 7 months, and I did not allow myself to properly explore Dubai. And then I left because of certain, conditions. I had to come back to Dubai, and then I said, what if I just try to give Dubai a different, a chance to feel different? And to me, Dubai is a very interesting place because you don't have to fit in, And this is where you feel like you're being accepted, not necessarily because you are, it's not because you're special, it's just a place that embraces everyone, anyone. So that makes me feel also safe, because I feel like I can always be embraced. I would always be given the space to be myself, and there's no expectation from me. And Dubai has been feeling home. And that made me actually question myself, maybe if at the age of 7, had the capacity and the consciousness to put myself out there and engage with the community that I thought was judging me. Maybe I also was judging them, in return. No one actually tried to meet the other party halfway through. Maybe it would have felt completely different. I would say the next stage for me is to develop this feeling that flows from within. So it doesn't have to be associated with a place. It's more of me feeling grounded, more of me fully enjoying my human experience and trusting the place I'm part of. So this has been my story in Rome. I'm sure you must be hungry. So we're just talking a bit about this stuff, and then I would love to hear from you also. What does home mean to you? How it evolved? So, also in relation to the theme of this experience, what does home mean to me? I'll be talking a bit about the Za'atar. I'm sure you must have seen it before, which is the Arabic word, especially for you, I know. It's the Arabic word for the thyme, the herbs. Yeah. So what's interesting about it, literally, the moment I hold this, I feel like I can see my mom. She goes to the mountains, she picks them up herself, she sun dries them, she grinds them, and then add the organic sumac and sesame to it. And
so these are wild thyme.
From the mountains. So yes. Each home, they would have their own recipe when it comes to this, because it's seasoned, so people would add maybe more salt, or more olive oil, or more sumac to it. So this is my mom's style. Then please, you can see and discuss it on. So, I mean, it's interesting. There's joy in my relationship with Palestine. There's pain also.
It reminds me of those, dry henna.
The henna, okay.
Yes, the color and the fragrance.
Yeah.
And can I?
Yes, please do.
It's okay. See how refined it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a flower, isn't it?
It's a plant.
It's a
small
plant.
one, with leaves.
And
Like
they
small
have a little
leaves.
bit of spice on it.
Yeah, we grind them and then you add the sesame and sumac and
Sesame seed.
Yeah.
So you do add in sesame seed.
Yeah, these are
Interesting.
the
Yes,
ones
that's
that are
right. I see.
toasted. Yeah.
It's toasted sesame seed. Interesting.
Very nice.
Yes, so
Oh, that they put on this bread.
Yeah.
So I've been eating this and I don't know
what
what
will
is
be
this.
eating? You think that you'll be only watching? So we usually encourage the communal eating. I'll bring
Right.
dishes for you guys, but then feel free if you want to
These
share.
are the main ingredients onto this flat bread.
Yes, they make the dough and then on top of it they put either cheese or this or the other spices.
And these are the Arabic bread.
This one I have no idea what it's called. This is taboon.
Yeah, I'm not
Why the bread
sure.
is so fluffy and fat.
Yeah. Asma, help us with the name.
Yes,
This is
The bread.
No.
the bread I got from downstairs. It's
Ah.
freshly baked.
So it's a flat bread or Arabic
it's-
bread.
I think it's more Pakistani.
Ah,
I know.
because of that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, I've been eating and
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know what I'm
your
consuming.
family has their own recipe.
It's very interesting how
Like
when you,
each
when you
home,
know
they have their
something,
own
like the
recipe, I
details
would
of it.
say.
Sometimes we
So-
just take it for granted, like for me,
Yeah.
let's say
And
Chinese,
this is
whatever.
the
I don't
olive
ask
oil.
about the
Yeah.
specifics when you understand
Yes,
it.
Just
Yes.
eat it.
Yeah.
Just
So this
eat it and
is
just
yummy and
Sent to you every time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
What is this?
This is
not
olive oil,
Okay.
freshly pressed.
Ah.
Yes.
The colors.
So this
And,
is extra virgin, extra virgin.
Organic.
The other day, my boss was like, was trying to impress me, like he got this extra virgin olive oil from Jordan. He's like, but this is made by my gracious
Exactly.
father, so it's
Nothing
priceless
beats
to
it.
me.
Organic, actually.
So, again,
Wow.
so I would always say, like, my relationship with Palestine is a bit complicated. So there's like this pain whenever I think of Palestine because I was judged. And then there's also the joy, like, so it's a bit messed up. When it comes to the olive oil, to me, it reminds me of my stubborn father because he's 75 years old. He's still insisting on investing in farming and just, it's completely not profitable. We always end up paying on that. But it's a joy for him. Just, he's been always a shepherd and he's been always a farmer. And he still cries, gets so excited when it rains.
Wow.
And for me, the olive harvest time is basically where he forces us to take some time off and just join the family and help in the harvest season. So, where people actually cook and just do everything on an open fire. So, there's joy, there's still pain. I'm still comprehending the pain about me being Palestinian. So, hopefully, I will be getting there. So, we'll be sharing with you a bit more of what certain, key ingredients also from Palestine mean to me. Like the general meaning of them and then the specific meaning for myself.
Yes.
But now we'll indulge in this a bit because we're hungry and also
Okay,
it
you
would
need to
be
teach me
nice.
how do I start? Or just
There's this space where there's no judgment. You do
No
things the
judgment.
way you
So I
the
can
way
do-
you want.
Yes.
Shukran.
You just eat and
That's why you're gonna eat too.
yes,
huh?
of course.
Okay.
Yes. So it's been fascinating. Thank you. Every time we just have a theme for the storytelling, and then you have people coming from different places, sharing also stories. Yes, I encourage this always.
No, usually I don't start first. I will observe how do they eat.
Why?
Because I just want to see
To
how.
experience.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay,
this is how
interesting.
I do when I enter to a different culture.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they start up with their food.
Yeah, but this is what actually Zaha challenges. Like, there's no, like, you can't just have a general understanding about a certain culture and then cascade that understanding to millions of people coming from this culture. And now this is something that we will tap into when we talk about the tahina and how I use the tahina to make fatta, which is traditional Palestinian dish. But then, like, I have 7 siblings, 6 of them are great cooks. Each, if I say fatta, okay, and then give each one of us
What
20
is that?
minutes. I will talk about
okay.
details in a bit, but then everyone will come back to you with like same dish, but then they have their own touch. So there is our own interpretation of the big components of the culture and then even the tiny details of it. And this is why I'm saying just do it.
Just
do it. Of course. I mean, if you just talk about the olive oil and then ask people what does olive oil mean to them, it might. Even my siblings who were born to the same parents and grew up in the same places, would have different interpretation of growing up in Palestine or even doing the olive harvesting activities and other stuff. So, and this is what we tap into. General understanding is out there. We can read, we can travel, but if you want to know, which is I feel like it's completely overlooked, how people feel about their cultures and what does it mean for them to be coming from a certain culture. And this is what Zaha cares about and taps into. So it's been kind of a distinct field for us. This is the experience number 30th.
Wow.
Yes, but like over 2 years. So
Nice.
So we want to capture more of this, and this is why we want to document it. So I've been to the experiences, and still when I watch the recording, there's always something different, something new to me. So it's literally about expanding or extending this limited lens through which we see the other. And this is where we believe that we might grow and accept more. So yeah, who's going to share with us also? What does home? Home is the key thing to us. عادل maybe.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for inviting us and sharing. Thank you. I'll just pass it. So I think for me, home has been a tough concept to grasp as well. In a very similar way, I grew up in different parts of the world. Where I was born is different than where my parents are from. It's different than where I lived most of my life. So when somebody asks you where you're from, they expect one answer. So, you know, at a young age, I always had to learn to adapt to other people. I always say I always had to grew up not looking a lot at the reflection of myself. What I mean by that is that because I grew up part of my life in North America, then in Libya, that's where my parents are from, then in Spain, I never had the right accent. I never had the right look. I never had the right, for the specific people to belong 100%. Right? So when I say I never look at my own reflection, is I got used to just interpreting what other people were doing, trying to understand and empathize where they're coming from, because that's the easiest way to connect. And so then it becomes, a home for a while became where your friends are at, right? Or where your closest are at. And I got disconnected from my family, from my mother, from my father, from my siblings, because we all lived for 10 years in all different parts of the world and never actually got together one place one time for 10 years. So by necessity, it was a lot about connecting. For example, when I was in college, it was connecting with people that had similar experience, that were international students from Malaysia or from Yemen or from different parts. It wasn't necessarily just the Arab culture of me. It was always trying to congregate around this idea of making a home together, not where my home was, but who's around you and who are the closest to. So the plus side is you can make any place your home. Then that means the downside is you don't have one place you can call home. So that's a bit of my experience with home.
So you think that there's joy and there's
I
kind
think,
of discomfort by just not having a specific place where you can call
yeah, because then you don't have that continuity, right? You don't have that comfort level. You would imagine the closest people to you are either your parents, your siblings, but for me, at a certain stage in my life, I came back to Dubai, and it was really tough reconnecting. You would think it's just a natural fit, right? But because I wasn't used to, and they weren't used to, and we weren't used to each other, there's a lot of unspoken tension and things
Interesting.
that come out when you think you can be as comfortable as you can with your family, because that's where home is, right?
Yes.
Add the fact that during the Arab Spring, my parents had to leave Libya because of the issues there, security. And so we've always sort of gravitated to wherever one of the siblings was. So if my sister was in Dubai, we came here. At some point I was in the US, another sister came there. So we tried to make, our own way of what home meant to us, just by having little things together, right? So that's, I would say, I mean, there's a lot of joy in trying to have different homes, but a lot of pain in not having or not belonging to one space or one place.
I feel you.
But I feel like recently people have been constantly traveling. Like they've been just living on the go, literally, because of the desire of just wanting to improve your living conditions, or you want better opportunities, or you want a fair system, or there's so many reasons now. So I feel like it's kind of a collective pain, and discomfort that everyone's searching for home, and there's no definite answer to it.
And we came from a model from our parents where they were the one country they thought of, that it has to be this place, so whatever they go, we have to go back to this. And with work. Like
Yeah.
you get a job and then you're stuck with it and you're secure and all of that. And then now we're transitioning because we are the generation that get affected by their need to go out because of war. Something forced them, not because they just wanted a choice sometimes. And then for us, we're like comparing our life and like the need, as I said, to explore other places, that everything open. I want a better lifestyle, so why not I go to a different culture with that old model of what if actually I'm taking a very big risk? What if no, that's the right thing to do? What if I need to stay in one job and not leave? And it's just finding that right
The commitment.
doesn't
there.
exist.
Commitment.
Yeah.
You need to find commitment, comfort. You
Yes.
don't know where you fit in,
Yeah.
like everywhere.
And I think at a certain age, at least for me when I was growing up, it was exciting. I mean, you had to deal with that reality of moving places home, but then the older I got, then I had a family, my own children, it's where do you plant the roots?
It's a challenge, yeah.
And then it becomes, you start identifying what's meaning in life, right? And even though whoever was lucky enough to move around and see, but I think you have to decide, is it closer? Because I think in essence it's, sometimes we think it's natural, but it's really unnatural to yank like a child from their mother, no matter what age, or move away from, there's something that's missing and we don't realize it, what it is, until a certain time, a certain place where they get older, they get sick as parents, or the siblings are going through, so there isn't that cohesiveness and something is lost in there. Even though it's good because it's more about, right, in this society about me and I have to get what I want and I need the freedom, I need to follow my passion. Well, part of that is also compromise and that's where it gets difficult with age, I think.
It's true.
But I think for also curious people and courageous people, it's kind of aching to be just stuck living in one place. You know, that would be also to me equally painful. So,
But no, this modern world, I mean, everywhere, each one of us is, we don't have a specific place. We are everywhere in the country.
so where's home to you also?
Me,
Yeah. It's when you're
I'm
stuck.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I also born in a mixed culture, like Asian. So my papa is Indian, my mom is Indonesian. So I'm born and bred in Singapore. Yeah. So I have 6 siblings. So my elder sister has never been home in Singapore. And I'm the youngest one, and also never be home in Singapore. So the middle child is always home in Singapore. So whenever, again, it's tricky. How should I say? I'm always a person who like to be on my own, in my own cubicle. So home to me is with, I wish I could be with my family, but I cannot be with my family. I can be with my family for a few months, then I still need to get out and explore other countries. So it's not that I don't miss my parents or my siblings, my friends, but now I don't have close touch with my friend in Singapore because my friend is everywhere. So whenever I move home, I only spend a few months and then I need to get up. I feel suffocate, not the word suffocate. How should I put it? I just need something to explore because I like to write. I like to write over people, I like to observe. So when I explore other country, so all the aspiration comes to me. So when I'm at home,
Inspiration is gone.
yeah, it's like a little girl craving for food. Mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy, you know? Yes. So when I get out, I feel like I'm adult. Yes. But when I'm at home, I feel like a child.
I can totally relate. And I'm like, but why am I like this? Like,
I
I'm
know.
an adult, but just, it triggered, like, all of a sudden, you become a different person.
Different
around
person,
them.
right? Suddenly you're just back to a child.
Yeah.
Yes. I wish I want to be with them,
Yeah.
but if I'm be with them, I will be a child forever. Because, you know, brought up in an Asian country, they will take care of you until you get married. And then when you are married, you live on your own. Still, they still look after you.
Okay.
Yes, how you doing? So have you eaten? And then if I
Like
stay
constantly on daily basis or
weekly, sometimes mom will call you, have you eaten? So this and that. Oh, really? This is just Asian culture.
Okay.
We just close one another. And if we are single, we live together with our parents. Until we get married, then you live with on your own or with your husband. So even though you live with the husband, usually the mother is the one who want to know, what are you doing? Have you eaten? Okay, do you have enough food in the fridge? So if the fridge is not filled up, and then you must get the groceries and fill up the fridge. This is very typical Asian family. So
And do you miss it when you go abroad? Do you feel like you're missing out on that?
I do
warmth?
miss it at that part, you know, the mother part, you know, how they comfort you, make sure that you're alright, everything. But once I'm back, I don't miss that much.
Okay.
But I miss the closeness, the laughter, seeing my parents cook good food. So I feel home for me is like a river.
Okay.
Yes. So it just float like floating everywhere. For me, home is everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And where and when you have felt like you're fully grounded, like you're fully enjoying your human experience?
I have not fully,
Not yet.
not yet. I'm still exploring. Yes.
Because to be honest, I've experienced this in Dubai.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, surprising because people will think of Dubai maybe it's a super efficient place. But to me, subhanAllah, you know, because I was just searching for a place that would just accept you for who you are and you don't like effortlessly. You don't feel like you're being observed, and I feel also Dubai as a place, as a culture, as a leadership, they appreciate when you work hard. So I just wanted a place that would celebrate my efforts when I work hard, because I've been in so many places where I worked very hard and I tried to be part of the system, you know, through different venues and ways, and it was never enough. So I feel like Dubai has given me this opportunity, and I feel like I'm so grateful.
So you find your home already.
Yeah, but then again, because I'm someone who's constantly searching for, because when I referred to war, I meant when war takes everything away from you. It's not only the physical resources, it's your knowing about life. It challenges you on who you are. So you experience, like, I mean, I'm referring to myself, I experienced at the age of 7, like you can lose everything in a blink of an eye, which happened with my parents.
Yeah.
So you realize, okay, then your sense of significance is not coming from what you own. So I've been searching for other sources for significance that flows from within, so no one can take them away from you, like war did to the savings of 30 years from my parents. So to me, it's so intriguing, and this is actually how I met Feza. She, it's an interesting thing. We have, I'm sharing in Marina with other ladies, and the agent all of a sudden decided to rent out a tiny room, which we thought that it's a storage area. So we had the pleasure of having this lady renting this part. And because I have this, I'm always intrigued by people who look different, who are coming from different parts of the world. Because to me, I see a potential where I can learn and see things from different angles. So I can manage life challenges. When life hits me hard, like it did with my parents, I feel like I'm prepared. I can look at it from different ways, and this gives me flexibility. So this is why, because it's a way to see more and see differently, and this intrigues me from, you know, from within. And this is why we're doing all of this. I mean, to me, Zaha.
So do you think your parents, their problem was because they only saw things from not just your parents, I
Yeah.
mean the whole people that went through that period, like
Yeah.
the persons, and because I know that from personal experience. But like, it's because they didn't explore any other thing and they were just too safe in a way, and then something happened and...
No, actually, when my parents went back home, my father took his time to comprehend. You know, he was a bit relaxed. My mom fully stepped in and she embraced us. And she's the one who actually, I just posted something, yaqeen, which is on the unquestionable faith that we talked about the other day, yaqeen. So my mom knew it, that we're going to be pursuing our education. She said, like, I'll do whatever it takes just to make sure, because she actually has 8 kids, you know,
Of course.
so it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so to me, war revealed that very unique intelligence and perseverance within my mom, which I hope that I have, you know, 1/3 of it. She's still hustling, she's still working, she's still farming. So I think I wouldn't have been able to observe that part of who my mom is if that would not happen. I wouldn't have had the consciousness about the otherness of other if I hadn't, you know, hadn't had gone through the experience of being judged. So it happened for a reason, and I loved at least the way my mom embraced it. Yeah, so I'm not sure about other people, because some people reacted to it by trying to accumulate more wealth. You want to feel safe. Okay, so I believe as a family we have engaged with it, not reacted to it. In a way, we're trying to leverage that pain in a way that could be meaningful and it could, you know, serve this world, you know, in general. So, yes. So, what's your story about home?
Long story. Like everyone. The thing is, I was born and raised for 15 years in Abu Dhabi. So for me, yeah, I'm like, oh, this is home and I love it and everything's perfect. And we go in the summer holiday to Jordan and Syria. So my father's Palestinian Jordanian, my mom is Palestinian Syrian.
Wow.
And both of them, according to their stories, that they are from Algeria originally. Amazigh, which is the people, the original people of Algeria. I know, it's like, and then they met after, like, let's say, like, for example, my father's grandfather was there, and vice versa. And then the Algerian people, when the Arabs came, they had their fights with them. They flew to Palestine. Not very wise, because then this happened. Then the Palestinian thing happened. So there's always streets or like small areas in Palestine or Syria, whatever it's called, the Moroccan street or the Moroccan village, and that's how people knew each other, and apparently that's how
They used to relate to each other.
Yeah. And
So they're originally both Amazigh.
both Amazigh, yeah. Which is
Interesting.
very
interesting.
Yeah. So basically, I'm like almost pure that blood, but I've never been there. I don't know anything about it. I'm always intrigued, but I don't know why I'm not exploring. There's something in it that's
Like running away from it?
like, in a way, it's, I don't understand it maybe, as you said, it's that I have curiosity about every other culture, like Japanese, Chinese, I want to know all the food, I want to know the people. But for that, maybe I feel one day I'll just go back to it after I'm finished or something, I don't know. I'm just waiting until it feels right. Or maybe there's trauma there in the history or in the ancestors, that's why I'm not so in it, I don't know. But basically, when I was studying in Abu Dhabi, because, you know, here everyone from every place, my friends who are pure Palestinian or pure Jordanian or pure Syrian, they were always very proud of their country. Right? Like, I'm Syrian, I'm Palestinian, all of that. And I'm like, when I go, I want to say, like, I'm Syrian. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're from Jordan. You're from somewhere else.
So you've been judged by that.
Yes, in a way. And they become their own thing. And if I go to the Jordanian one, it's kind of being playful, but it was consistent and different ways that it felt I don't belong to any of them, and I always then try to avoid the subject of country or place or whatever.
Growing up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And because my passport is Jordanian, but my accent is Syrian, so
This is
I'm
how the
already
Syrian
confused.
accent.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly. So if I go and so my father left here with because he had trouble with work, and then it just happened, as you said. And one day we were in a vacation in Jordan, and he just called us. He's like, "You're gonna stay. I'm coming back." And we didn't get to say goodbye. We didn't get to see anybody. It's just like I'm torn away from everything and get to live with this country against my will, basically. But I just have to. But yes, like
Jordan.
no. In Jordan, yeah.
Okay.
So in Jordan, for me, my personal experience, it's not me judging how it is. It feels. You have. They're more stronger, like they're not very easily accepting of someone who's different. So you have to kind of be very tough or strong so that they will accept you in a way that you're one of the guys, you know.
Really?
Or yeah, this is, I don't know, it just happened
Again,
multiple
this
times.
As I said, this is my perception about what I've gone through. This is my narrative, and that's hers, you know, that she had to live with.
Yeah.
So that is how Jordanian people are.
From my experience as a child, like as a teenager, or maybe the places I went to, I don't know, it's just a different place. It had, I
So
had
they
a
are tough
cultural shock.
people.
Yeah. And I came from Abu Dhabi, it's like, we're very cute and on the hills and like
But it's interesting because I would always say like Palestine is one of the most liberal, I've been to, and progressive.
They are liberal?
Yeah, I mean, but it just happened in the community I grew up actually, and where it judged me. So I resorted to myself. I've not engaged with the surrounding. But maybe if I tried, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
okay.
can confirm for you that I was in pain for 15 years.
Yeah.
So that pain still comes to me. I still flash. I mean, reflect on it. So just back to your story. I mean, in relation to your story. So,
but it's it was really hard at that time because it was the change. It was me fitting into this new place. It was my parents as well fighting at the time because my mom as well hated Jordan and she wanted to live in Syria. So as well, I observed her judgment about Jordan, I guess, as well. So that's why I didn't even open up. So at the minute, anybody who was like a bit tough, you know, the Jordanian Palestinian style, I took it very like
intimidated,
you know. But it was for them. I can now that I'm older, I can see people in Jordan interacting because I studied at the university there. It's their way, and they're not taking it personally. But for me, it was too much. Like you're too rude or too mean or too in my face. So at that time, after my family fighting, my mom decided, khalas, she's gonna go to Syria. So we got our stuff and we went to Syria. My dad stayed in Jordan. And in Syria as well, I don't know if it's her liking it and me being very close to her that I liked Syria for that. And her family was there, so always when we go to the summer, like with my cousins, and I love it, it's perfect. And accordingly, in the school, the girls were really, really nice to me. It was totally different experience than Jordan. It was very comfortable. I was still scared and shy and the whole thing, but they were like very chill, like they were fine with, oh, okay, you're from there, okay. And they just continued like their normal thing. And I stayed there until like I finished high school and I studied 1 year in university. And then my dad decided for us to come back to Jordan. For me to study IT because I couldn't get Syria. I'm like, yay, I love, okay, I'm gonna go to IT, but I don't want to go back to Jordan. Like, there's no other option. But I had to do it because I was studying, how do you say Asar بالإنجليزي?
Athar?
Archaeology?
Archaeology.
Yes,
It's just not my interest, it was just because of my grades.
Ruins, it's archaeology.
I think, yeah. So I went back knowing and being very afraid of the cultural shock and everything, but I think my experience in Syria made me a bit tougher because yes, people were very nice and very open and like.
But still, maybe you were the lady who came from Jordan or Abu Dhabi to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but
Totally
all
different. And I had to, I still remember being raised here that when I went to Jordan that 1 year, and I wanted to make an order to McDonald's, my heart was pounding out of my chest because I was anxious because this was a new experience for me. Like everything in life was a new experience because here you're so protected, you're in your own bubble and you're like strolling, like everything is cute and easy, you're trying to take care of everything. But there you had to commute yourself, you had to do everything yourself, and it's just Syria has been a good place for me to transition and become stronger, but a bit gentler and kinder in a way, more comfortable. And then when I went to Jordan, still I had my experiences, but I was more myself, stronger, a bit tougher, was able to be a little bit more assertive, not claiming that I was like, like a bit better. So, and then there I studied the university years and then worked. But the interesting thing is that the same place, I went back into it, and in that second experience, I hated it and I loved it. So there was one period that I really hated and I wanted to just like disappear from there. And then I was like, oh my God, actually Jordan is amazing. And the difference is that I just, as you said, it's about the people. That at the first period, I didn't know anybody and I was like very different from them. They were different. They were judging my accent because I'm Syrian, they're Jordanian, all of that. Still to this day, I have it, but like I take it more easy. But when I had friends and I was like doing okay, it felt like home at the time. And the same happened here, that when I came here, thinking that this is home because I've been born and raised here and I know it, but it's different. I'm not saying it's not home, but it's just a different place for me. So
You still feel like a foreign here?
yeah, it's totally a different experience. I was there with my friends and family in school in Abu Dhabi, and here I'm an adult and
on her
it's a
own, it's a different
experience. So now I understand that actually it's literally just about, for me, the people around me, me as well being accepting of myself, and I found that every place where any experience brings me in to accept myself more and be more settling and understanding and compassionate, it's where I feel, you know what, I feel comfortable now, it's good, it's safe. So it is me, I'm taking it with me every place, and when I get detached from it, it's where I start feeling like
You struggle or you feel like
I'm not settled, I'm not rooted, not grounded. And it's about as well the place where it allows me to express my authentic self in a way. I know now that I love certain things and certain experiences, certain people, certain stuff, and I feel okay with it. And so, for example, I know I love nature, so I don't see myself living in a place where there is no nature. So now I'm able to make those choices, but not limiting myself to one place or one anything. Like, I'm okay with living a life and just dying living 3 years in every country that has that aspect of me where I can express the things I love, where I have people that are good, where I have good tribe, good community, get to know people's story. So it's opening and it's freeing, because me in the beginning, getting into those small experiences when I was younger, it was I was jealous of people that felt the belonging, like they had the flag or they said something about the country and they know everything. I'm like, but I want that, why don't have this? And I used to blame my parents, like, you're taking us everywhere and you're continuing this. But actually it's made me, as you said, more open to other people. I see more, I experience more, I love more, I understand more. It's just, I can't see myself going back to what I think
You
their
used to think,
experience
yeah,
is
Back to your
that
childhood.
it has to be one thing, one accent, one country, one. So, yeah, I mean, now I really love it. Now I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it.
Interesting. So now you feel home, you feel grounded.
Yeah. And because now I have my 2 dogs and my husband, so now
I
can
like the
stick
way
with
she
everything.
puts the dogs first and then the husband.
Devin, he knows it. Like we have levels.
Okay.
So those I can take with me as well. So it's kind of my safety net. So it's really nice to have it with you. So they are
Very
part
nice.
of my definition of home. It's the inside of me, the things I relate in the place I go in, and those entities.
It's so refreshing just listening to this
It's
story
good, isn't it?
and
Different
Yeah.
experience. Wow.
and
Amazing.
different ways of defining and different levels of understanding, and it's just fascinating to me. So
Yeah, in one journey, and then imagine when you listen to other people and their one journey in those years, how much they went through
Yeah.
and how they interpreted each part. As you said, because reality is our interpretation. And the evidence is you having
Yes.
a brother that
Yeah.
understood
Yeah.
from the same
Yeah.
event something exactly different. So
different stuff.
you have to listen to them, not to what happened on the outside.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we'll move to the second component, which is basically us celebrating certain ingredients.
Yes.
So I'll be bringing the stuff from the kitchen. Okay. But it's good that we only had 3-4 people.
I'm like a wanderlust.
Which is good.
I'm like a wanderlust. I'm still searching for where it is. But it's good.
But as you said, because you're a writer, you need the novelty. You need that when something is new and it has your attention, because when you get used to something, your focus just is not honed in. Something new, you feel like a child, you need to look and see. So as a writer, I think it works very well.
Would you mind
That you
having
have
minced
everything.
meat with the okra?
Oh,
You're vegetarian?
yes.
Okay, fine.
Me too.
No worries.
Yes.
We have 2 virgins.
So Adil, how do you feel, as you said, with your experience with your kids? Is it you talk to them about this aspect, or you allow them to have their own thing? Do they
It was interesting because they were born in the U.S. My wife is Palestinian American. She was born in the U.S. And so when we first relocated here, their cousins, my sister's married to a Libyan, so they were Libyan. Where are you from? We're American.
Yeah.
And my mother doesn't want to hear that. So
yeah.
there's these little things, and so we're very open with them of where they're from and what they want to be. But I think it's just, I think it's just what you're saying. Like everybody has a flag or has something, and I've never been comfortable standing in a national anthem. I would go out of my way sometimes not to stand in the national anthem in the U.S. or this, because I was born there. I've always had my citizenship. I lived a long life, but in Libya the same way, because it was very easy to tease kids if they didn't have an accent. Now, I was still Libyan. My cousin that was half Egyptian, half this, they would make fun even more. I mean, see, because in our culture, or at least in Libya and other parts, there's a lot of endemic racism in a sense that's deeper than in the West,
I agree.
but just not spoken.
This is the first time I know.
Yeah.
Racism.
Yeah, because your shade of skin, or you're this, or you're that. It can be any one of many things.
Even like a small village, if you come from a village and you're from the city, if you're from
Exactly.
there and you're
How
there,
do they capture your accent? I mean,
Because Arabic has different accents, right?
you mean the slang?
Yeah, the slang.
The
So
slang,
Egyptian
okay.
slang or Lebanese is probably more well known because of the TV and
But your
Yeah.
accent is American.
when I speak English.
it's-
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
very-
even in the US, they say, okay, I have an American accent. I went to American schools, but at the end, there's something that's not exactly American about it, right?
They still.
Yeah.
For us, it's the
Yeah.
same maybe, but maybe
Yeah,
for
yeah.
them they.
Yeah.
But when you speak Arabic,
When I speak Arabic,
fluently.
yeah, so my fluent language is English. That's my dominant.
Okay.
And then if I can speak Spanish and Arabic with the same fluency. Because
Fantastic.
growing up in the, but it's like you said, everybody will try to see where you're from, where you belong, where
They're
you don't belong.
confused.
Yeah. But one thing I did that was interesting, maybe you guys would like to do, is I did a DNA test.
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah, you
just,
should.
just because to know if their story is right or wrong.
Well,
Did they
well,
lie to me?
No, but because, even the narratives in your own family, right? So where you're from, and this.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it dispels a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because both of my parents are from the same tribe. So in a sense, in Libya, in this village, we're Hawana. And so when you go and start discussing DNA-wise, where you're from, it becomes a complete different story.
Exactly.
And it was like 51% North African, okay. So you have Morocco, Algeria, so it shows you a heat map. But also like 2% Coptic Christian, 2% West African, and then from Riyadh area, 25%. And so it shows you all the trails because the roots of Arabs came, except for the Amazigh, that they said they were there already in North Africa and other parts. But the others just came, whoever stopped, whoever continued, some came back. So it dispels, there's people, really darker toned skin where I'm from, and there's ones that are really light skin and blue eyes. So you had a lot of mixing and stuff, so you can't claim. Yeah, it's interesting.
We can't take that old model where people wanted, I'm just Jordanian, I'm just
I mean, what does it mean to, like, Ahmed Saeed used even to challenge himself. What does it mean to be Palestinian? Does it mean something in specific?
Exactly.
Okay, there's definitely attachment, there is meaning to it. But like, is there like a definite definition that would apply to everyone coming from that physical place? It doesn't make sense, So, okra. This is homegrown by my father. And we sun-dry it, okay? And then they put it like in a necklace. You just soak it in a boiling water for like a few hours just to clear the dust away. And then you just cook it, so it becomes really
Does it shrink when you sun-dry it?
Yes, of course, but it is a baby okra.
Oh, it's a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does it mean to me? It's been the comfort food for me. It reminded me of home when I decided to go to the UK in 2009 because I wanted to challenge myself and see if I have the strength to manage life on my own away from the family. And for the first couple of weeks in the UK, I would literally vanish after the class finished, so people don't even see me. So I would even avoid them seeing me or interacting with me because I was still questioning the worthiness of my story and how would I answer the questions of Palestine, and So it reminds me of my UK experience. And so I got it from my parents, and I wanted to share that with you. It doesn't.
It has a smell.
Yeah.
But then do you remove the string?
Of course.
First you remove the string, or
No.
you drop
You soak it
Uh-huh.
in a boiling water, and then it becomes very soft after a couple of hours. You just cut it off, and then you just, pull the okra down.
Oh wow! I didn't know they
At the
preserved
time they
it.
How
Yeah.
come it smells so fragrant?
Yeah.
This is the original smell?
This is the original smell.
Oh, really? I don't know that okra smell like this.
Yeah. You can take this necklace with you to smell it. Yeah, of course, seriously.
Really?
Yeah, I can give it to your mom.
No, I want to write about it and document.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Please. So, yeah, please, you don't mind the lahma.
Hey, relax.
The meat.
Really, this is for me. Really?
Yeah, wallah. This is for you.
This is with me, so I won't.
Yeah, okay.
I think I need a plastic for this.
I'll give you.
Yes, thank you.
So is there a specific food that makes you feel, besides your mom's cooking, that this is okay? This tastes like home.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh. You see, my dad is not a veggie person. Typical Indian eat meat all the time.
Yeah.
Indonesian food, tasty. They like to grill
It's amazing.
and then very spicy. Then Indian food. So when my mom cooks, she has to cook two different. One is only curry for my dad. And the other one is for the family.
rest.
Yes. So she's been doing it for a long time, and she enjoyed cooking.
Because he eats meat or he doesn't eat meat?
He didn't eat fresh. For Indonesia, we eat a lot of vegetables, like raw vegetable. We just dip it with sambal. Sambal means that it's a chili mixed with garlic, onion, and then oil. So you just dip it like that.
So this is called peasant salad, salad al-falahiyya. You have, heard of it. It's, to me, it's very simple. Back in time, people had very little resources, so whatever they have, they would just use it to make a salad. So it's basically onions, chilies, tomato, chop them very thin, and then you add olive oil and some dried mint. To me, why I love it, because what does it mean to me? It reflects the simplicity and sophistication of
So good. So how is it sweet a bit? Yeah, sweetness a bit, take it.
A bit of pomegranate molasses.
That's why I can taste the sourness.
So good.
Yeah. So the salad to me represents the sophistication and simplicity of Palestine and my relationship with Palestine. So this is why I love this salad. We use, in the Levant area, we use lots of herbs and seasoning. So onions, garlic, coriander, parsley, and less of spices. But because I grew up also in the Gulf, so I'm influenced by both. So I use spices and I use seasoning. نستخدم احنا نعناع ناشف.
But it's very comforting.
Yeah. It's very
Very free. So is part of you cooking wherever you've lived and stuff, is that part of sort of your sense of what home is? Or is this something that you don't do, for example, a lot of it?
You mean cooking?
Yeah, cooking your own food, your own...
Yeah, too. It's definitely where I reconnect. I definitely reconnect. I mean, I'm not running away from the fact that I grew up in Palestine, and it used to hold some sort of significance for me, like ultimate significance. Okay, now it changed. There's significance, but it's also it's challenged. So I'm still dissecting. I'm still decomposing my relationship with it, and meanwhile, I reconnect with it. Through food. Yes, because to me, I'm fascinated by the sophistication of my parents. I mean, they've been. They're coming from very simple background, but still, i.e., they give me the space to be myself, and this is a blessing. If you talk to my siblings again, maybe they're not aware even of it. I've been always fascinated. Yesterday, I posted something about the perseverance of my mom. So to my siblings, they might say, "Oh, okay, she's strong." But to me, it's much more than that. So, yes.
So when you cook, you bring back to your old childhood.
Yeah, maybe to my parents specifically, I would say. So I have observed my father opening up and being more expressive about his emotions. My elder siblings would say that he used to be tough, but I would say me and my youngest sister and the elder one, we just decided to have a strike and not participate, and not even eat with them for 3 days. It was tough. It was tough without explaining. So he would tell me like, okay, I cherish your intelligence, and then one day he would tell me, don't do this. I was like, okay, can you just tell me why? And I used to always ask why, and he's like, I don't have every time to justify. Khalas, what? No, that's so. No, yeah. And that would be because of people, the community we used to live in. So it was. We decided. I said to my sisters, let's do this. Then we talked to his cousin. He's elder than him. He used to be very nice, guy, any old man. And he's like, he talked to my father and he told him, listen, when you,
Get this from
Yes. When you grow old, you notice that girls actually are more emotional, they pay attention to your details.
Oh.
Boys want. So take care of them so they can take care of
That's
you.
not-
Yeah, I swear to God, and
Very,
it was,
very true.
I experienced I saw my father flipping.
Yeah.
I saw it in my eyes. And yeah, so since then he started to become more expressive.
Wow. But
And
it's good that your
it's-
father listened, because
Yes, because
some people,
maybe
even if they got the information, they would be very, like,
yes,
attached
they
to
would
their
stick,
ego. And
yeah.
like, yeah.
So yeah, I mean recently I've been to Palestine. It was very tough emotionally. It was yeah, there's so much pain because of the local system. I mean, not necessarily because of the occupation. That's a different story.
Yeah. How long did you stay there when you went? to
I grew
Israel?
up. I was 9 years old, and
No, I mean, this time when you went and visited, how
a week.
Only
And I was doing, actually I'm doing a revision exercise for Zaha, the model, as a consultant in Palestine, yes, please. And so we're having brainstorming sessions about just, the contextual analysis of Zaha, and different parts of it. So we would have like sessions from 9 to 5, and then the evening I would just see my parents. And I just experienced this discomfort within me. And as soon as I got to the airport in Jordan, I just broke down. And because I sent a voice note to myself, and because I wanted to understand what was behind it, like I was searching for something that would remind me, or that would awaken that sense within me that I can call that place home, and I couldn't find it. And that was
Sad.
painful for me,
Yeah.
because I also realized that I want to call that place home.
Exactly. Then
So
it
I was like,
you're
oh
still
my God,
wanting
it's,
it
you know?
Yeah, to belong there. That
No,
was
it's really a
that
special
period,
place.
yeah.
It's very interesting, and it contributed to who I am. But there's so much there, there's so much pain, confusion, and it's losing its authenticity. I started to feel, and I just go there and I feel like I'm drifting away from the system that actually never represented me. So at least now I can talk. I have the capacity to express. I mean, even terminologies, I can talk about it. Back then I used just to experience pain. I would be very quiet.
Just suppress it.
Family is busy securing food and stuff, and no one would pay attention to you. And now you feel they used to think, oh, she's a quiet child, and I was boiling from the inside. Okay, and but at least now I have the capacity to express, and I have the courage to stand on my own 2 feet, and I say I have a different experience with Palestine. I can talk about Palestine in a non-traditional way because I have a more intense pain with the local system, with the occupation. Because it used to come with a sense of guilt because Palestine is an occupied place. People would expect you to go, this is how we suffer.
Of it, yeah.
What if I want to talk about our, appetite for life, i.e., So
And how did your parents receive your experience when you're more expressive and allowing yourself to?
my mom has been always aware of the fact that Palestine, the country, the system, is limiting.
Okay.
And she always encouraged me to go from. She's been always. To her, actually, I was late. So she's aware of it. She always believes that I'll be doing interesting, important things worldwide.
Right.
And yeah, so they're very understanding, I would say.
Okay. So yeah, I want to ask you guys, since you all lived in like you went to the UK, you went to here, which is different culture from where you came from, and now the US and then Libya, because although I went into different countries, but they were all kind of Middle East, so they kind of still there's something common. But in May, actually, we're moving to Canada, which is
Yeah.
Oh,
Totally
far.
different thing from everything.
I'm following you anyway.
Wallah, when طيب
Just started
Okay,
with the
okay.
process. Yeah.
And just I can help you with that because
Yeah.
we did it ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to do that on my own also.
طب برافو،
Yeah, we can
خلاص
talk
بصير.
about it. Good.
Osama كتير my husband's so good with it. He did the whole thing. I was like just watching.
Nice.
So
Canada will be a good place.
Yeah.
Because they open to many.
They're very intentional about cohesiveness and bringing people together. You know?
yeah,
The system.
Even New Zealand also opening up.
yeah. But did you find like on daily basis that the differences when they show up or when you notice them that like how do you deal with that? Do you feel instant retreat or curiosity or like how do you approach it? Like for me now I feel it's just curiosity because already I've been into this transition in Dubai because it's very cosmopolitan so it prepared me in a way but still
Where are you going in Canada?
Toronto
Okay.
which is as well very
Yeah.
Cold, huh?
inclusive. Yeah,
Toronto is more colder.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
minus something.
So you're saying how we have interacted or engaged with
Yeah. But the
the
moments,
otherness
you know,
of
that-
others, like when
Yeah.
you come across people
Yeah.
who
Because sometimes it's always like we're human. You're gonna deal with them without you feeling, because that's the common. You want with it,
Exactly.
but then there's, you know, those small
Yeah.
moments, especially when you're younger. I think.
Yeah, but as you've said, because of your experience, because you've been blessed with experiences where you built your consciousness that there is value in investing in understanding where people are coming from, rather than judging them. If you do this intentionally and constantly, it becomes part of your natural reaction or engagement. I'd like to think of it with the other, you know. And as soon as you do this with others, it curates the safe space. So it's no longer me versus you. It's basically a space where me is trying to embrace and understand you without judgment. And I would say Zaha literally taught me how it literally transformed the depth and richness of my relationship with other people. We constantly connected, right? The moment she walked in, you know? And and other ladies who came after you also the same. So, like nothing human is alien to me. I always remind myself of this. Nothing human is alien to me. Even the nastiest behavior is coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not saying that we have to accept it, but I always say ignorance has never been a solution. Knowledge is always like a good start.
Yeah.
So,
Don't you think that everywhere we go, there's always people who judge you? Except for a place like a cosmopolitan city, less judgment. Like every
Yeah.
country you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you notice
I found, yeah, so with bigger cities where there's a lot of concentration of people, yeah, there's an impatience, right? There's a
ignorance.
pulse. Yeah, and I also, just the pressure cooker of being in a place of proximity, of rushing and having, you know, to live in an expensive place, which means more often than not, you're gonna have to be either working from 9 to 9 or you know, and both people working, and if you're married, then you have kids, and then, so there's a stressful element to something like that. So that's New York, LA, in the US, Toronto. But when you go to places where it's still more calm, like for me, my experience with North America, the moment because I was born, but then grew up mostly in parts of Libya, in Spain, 7, 8 years, then moved. When I moved, then I looked at, the first thing, what I realized is, it wasn't like Hollywood. It was North America, that place wasn't exactly what you know, what we all grew up absorbing.
Yeah.
But then, I always say this, that sometimes, and this is just a bias I might have, but sometimes in the Middle East, whether it's in Libya or in other parts of it, I felt there was always not only judgment, but 7 degrees of layers of what people said and what they meant. So you would say something, then I would think, and then there was a strategic way of you know, finding people's intention, how this, and then you come and talk to other people. So there's a lot of talking about, behind, for something, to manipulate, to do something about it felt like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I get dropped in that place, and it's completely the opposite. Now, it might have been not racially as diverse, but the people were so calm, so comfortable, there was enough space, they weren't on top of each other, but they would say good morning, right? And so, at a surface level, it seemed that, and for many people, they were smiling.
Yes.
And so, and when we're talking, I can tell that there wasn't this 7 degrees of thing, which I was never used to. I can never judge people's intention. I wasn't always good at that. I would just absorb what some people tell me, and I'm like,
Just
okay.
believe it as is. And
Yeah,
just
yeah,
take it,
because
yeah.
how nice would it be if you can have a space like that, I always
Yeah.
said, right? And with people like that. And so I found that more in the Midwest US, parts of rural Spain. Again, areas where there isn't this street smart attitude you're trying to build. That's why when you say Toronto, I say that's different than if you go to, my brother lived in Winnipeg, or maybe Ottawa, or a different city, or Montreal that has it. But yeah, from the other angle, just North America in general, I feel people are more, they don't have the legacy 1,000-year histories.
To defend, okay.
So here, everybody's coming, like, it might be even 50-year history, like, where I'm Syrian, but 100 years ago, there wasn't any of that.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
drew that for you.
Yeah.
And so the other thing is regardless of that, we search our histories, right? Whether it's religion, it's this, and that brings a huge thing. Over there, except for the Native American people, so the Kunda, what Damazigh were in a certain part there, you have them, and you don't hear their voice a lot. Nobody can claim ownership or a legacy of 1,000 years. Therefore, the acceptance, the inclusiveness, and their very heightened awareness of what diversity, equity, and inclusiveness means is different than here. They're very sensitive about this, I think, and I think nowadays there's tension, that's all. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll see between sort of people that's enough, we don't need more people, and others that really open. So that's a bifurcated society, where here we're still, like I said, we're not feeling that as much, because every other person is.
Yeah, and we're not ready for it to change, because it's not part of the conversation here, and our
No.
world, like, no one still would.
You mean here in Dubai?
I feel in the Middle East in
Middle
general,
East.
like, as you said, like, all of this is in Europe. It's drawn, that's why we say this is Jordan and this is whatever, especially when I was in Jordan, because in Jordan they have this racism between Palestinian and Jordanian.
Yeah.
And it's like literally, my husband would tell me that my grandfather was basically kind of like working in Jerusalem, but like living somewhere in Jordan. So it's one country, they speak the same language, they eat the same thing, but still once that was drawn, it became me better than you, and you came to my land, and it's
And even within the same country, I mean, when I grew up in the village in Pakistan, but then after I finished my BA, I moved to the city. And there I was to them the village girl, you know, the girl that came from the north. I swear, yeah, I mean,
really,
and even
we want to
there-
find
oh my
anything
gosh.
to divide even more.
And you were supposed to be part of the cool, community or gang, so you can fit in. And I was like, no, I just want to be myself. Like, you know, I ran away from a place that not accept me for who I am. Now I'm being asked to fit in again. No, I do want to fit in. And I was there for 2 years, and I was just, passing time again. I was just searching for scholarships for the masters. So, and this is why I always say, like, and in the UK, I was still, I was only 25 years old. I was questioning, who I am and what does it mean for me to be coming from a certain part and to have been born in a different country, and what did the war, do to me, and all of that was too soon for me to completely open up. I opened up. And the experience transformed me by at least trying to examine how it feels when I embrace the parts that I have always orphaned,
Yeah.
from who I am in my story.
Yeah.
But now I feel like, no, it's okay, I can embrace all of that and I can defend it openly, and I don't care about how people perceive it, because being your authentic self, I think, is the best thing it's the best thing that you could do to yourself and even the surrounding.
Yeah.
So the last ingredient that we would be celebrating today is tahina.
Yes.
This is the sesame paste. Okay. So It's a key ingredient in any Palestinian house. It's the key component of the hummus, the traditional mezza, and it holds some sort of significance in Palestine because it's a representation of the business acumen. Because it's one of the few, I would say, industries that actually managed to survive during the darkest, I would say, economic time. And yeah, yes.
Okay, this is to me is like a blend of green beans.
Green.
Yes, is this?
No,
No.
it's the sesame. This
Really? This
Yeah.
is how
Yeah.
sesame seed.
yes. Well, I'll tell you how they make it. So
It's different smell.
That's
It's
different than
different.
when it's
Yeah, of
like,
course.
yeah, it becomes something else. Very nice.
So I can assure you that this one coming from Palestine has no bleaching. Usually they add bleaching chemicals to
I knew
it.
this lately.
And
Oh, serious?
this is why sometimes if you try the commercial one,
Yeah.
it's bittery. Murra.
Yeah.
So so this one is produced in a family workshop, and sometimes also they mix the commercial one with the cheaper vegetable oil. But this one is pure. So yeah, what they do, they weed out the imperfect seeds, and then they just soak it in a salty water. So actually the dirt goes to the bottom,
They press
and the
it.
perfect seeds come up. They collect it, they put it again in sweet water, and it helps also in the peeling. And then they stone grind it. They still do this in Palestine.
This one is
Wow.
Yes.
I want
No
to see
way.
Yes.
this.
And it's perfect for actually, it has lots of calcium, it has lots of vitamin B, it's really good.
Sesame seeds.
Yeah, to me, what's interesting about tahina is it's a comfort food. You literally just spread it on anything. Sandwich.
Tahina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
The
it's,
famous thing.
yeah. And back to that dish that you're asking about, the fette means literally the shredded bread. It's a very common dish in the Levant area. There are endless recipes to make fette. And basically it has a base of either rice or bread, then tahina or yogurt, then if we said rice or bread, tahina or yogurt, then chicken or meat. Okay? So,
No,
and hummus,
chicken.
yeah, I mean the key layers, and then people play with it. Garlic, chickpeas, and
How colorful and
Yeah.
interesting it is.
Yes.
Because I'm born in the city, I don't see all this kind of thing, and everything is new to me.
Yeah.
That's why when I see Asma cooking this, what is this?
I love it.
So yeah, I just enjoy it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you see this kind of food, I eat this kind of food. It's so refreshing, and it's also help for detox,
Yeah.
especially for tomatoes.
Yeah.
And okra also have a lot of vitamins and adding fiber into it.
yes.
And then all this kind of food is very comforting, easy to prepare for busy working adult like us.
Yeah,
And
doesn't take
tasty
much
and
time.
healthy. It is
Non-processed, I think
Yeah.
we got so used, I mean, I can count how many times a day, you just, the more steps between the ingredient
Yes.
and you get it to your mouth, the issue, the
Exactly.
more issues arise.
Yes.
So here, like when you were describing the foods and stuff, there's, 1-2 steps that happen,
Yeah.
and we're lucky to see that they're actually doing it.
Yes.
And that's rare.
And you can taste the difference. It's totally like in your body how you feel it. Like even for just 1 week, if you eat whole foods that are just, as you said, from like you can see it.
Yeah.
It makes
This
a
is what I
difference.
like about this experience today. You see, when I start to, when
So
I'm
exciting.
gathering,
Yeah.
very exciting to me.
Yeah.
Because when I go back to Singapore, or even I meet my Singapore friend in Dubai, the first topic they talk about food,
Yeah.
Singapore food.
Yeah.
What is Singapore food? Laksa, fried rice, all those kind of things.
Is it a mix of what I understood, it's a mix of different
Yeah,
cultures,
Indian
right?
religion. Yeah.
So Indian, Malay, Chinese.
Chinese.
Yes. So we all talk about that food that we missed it. So but when we ask how is this ingredient works well. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So we only know how to eat.
Yeah.
So we don't really source all those ingredients, where is this coming from, how do we prepare it. I mean, we just know how to talk about it.
Is the food culture in Singapore, is it becoming more fast food, or is it more, because I saw some documentaries and I'm really curious about what do you call them,
Hawker
there's like-
center.
yeah, like
Yes.
where they have little stands and people
Yes.
making, is
Yeah.
that a common culture, like how to eat for busy people, or is that,
Yeah, Singapore, we want it fast and easy, but it's
Okay.
not only fast food. Hawker center is catered to like home food, but they
yeah,
they
so
do
they're
it
like
in a
little
hawker
stands,
center,
okay.
all different kind of stand.
Okay.
So the one that you see in the document is
Yeah,
the old Singapore. So
Yeah.
we keep on like
people on the streets.
yeah, on the
and,
street, and then there is also in the shopping mall. We
Mm,
call it like food court, like we have
Yeah,
it in Dubai also. So we cater with all different culture,
mm,
all the foods. But we also do have a fast food like McDonald's, KFC,
Yeah,
and other things. So Singapore is known as a food paradise. Whatever you're craving for, you find that.
Mm.
You also find local cuisine from different culture too. So you don't go hunger in Singapore. So you can, if like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock you feel hungry, you just go on your pajamas, walk down and you get the food.
Yeah.
That is how Singapore is. But then we don't, like here, you know what kind of ingredients.
Yeah, because they need to me. I mean, if you
Yes.
go to other maybe Palestinians, maybe to my siblings, this all crunches.
Exactly.
And this is why.
That's why it's so different.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how we are. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and-
very interesting.
And this is why, to me, what we do is again challenging the narratives, challenging our stories about who we are, and this is why we call it the personal culture, which is basically what's within you, this knowledge reservoir that we want to tap into. This is what we want to do: tap into it, document it, and share it. This is to me, I've done my bit, you know, and then it's up to people
it's
to
very powerful.
capitalize on it, you know. As you've seen, like to you, okay, we're excited, but it's just the knowledge that you've been exposed to, and the knowledge that you'll be carrying within you, you know, and share it with people. But this is to me is powerful. It's not the fact that we're eating or it's the food. It's out there, you know.
Yeah.
It's the meaning of it that actually you're carrying
Yeah.
with you. So now we're
very interesting.
Thank you.
Very colorful.
I'm glad that
Very
you-
tasty. And
now
the
we'll
company
enjoy.
is very good.
Hi.
عملت إيه؟
yeah. So we made I made fatta.
Oh wow.
But I made my own version of it. Fatta, again, the traditional dish with the layers.
yeah.
So I made rice on the side,
Oh.
and I cooked the tahina with garlic and chicken and
Wow.
chickpeas.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So can we help you? يعني to bring
We're good.
more?
No, we're good. Don't
عشان ما
worry.
نخلوه
I
عشان
just-
أنا فيني cooked for أكتر.
No, it's okay. I'll just.
Yeah.
طب هي
هذه نقدر ناخذ حاجات.
Okay.
Okay.
If I want to experience the closest to Singaporean food here in Dubai, where shall I go?
There is one at Madina, Souk, Al Souk. The new Al Souk.
In the Medina Jumeirah? No.
No, Al Souk, near to the creek.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
At the Souk market there,
oh.
there is called one restaurant called Yum.
Yeah.
Y-E-M or Y-A-M.
Then you write it down.
Yes.
Oh, that's my phone. Okay.
Yeah. It's still on it.
No, no, it's fine.
So there is they have a Singapore food.
Y-E-M. Y-U-M?
Where here they have a place?
Yeah.
Yes. So also at the creek.
Creek.
The
Yes.
thief, maybe. No?
Yes,
The place
yes,
that looks
yes.
a bit
The
Okay.
market of the soup
Yeah.
also. Yeah. We have a big restaurant there.
What's it called?
Yeah. Because when I come here, I want to eat Chinese food.
No, no.
Exactly.
You give me a moment because the flight is tonight. I need to fly.
Oh.
Really? At what time? Are you
But my Singapore friend will pick me up later. But I just want to check where.
Sure. They have Libyan food.
Oh, the Libyan food is is couscous. Yeah, we eat in bigger plates.
Yeah.
That's what we're used to. A bit of influence from the Italians, but it's a lot of yeah. I always say the epitome of North Africa for is Moroccan. That's what you go to Morocco.
Yeah.
We have tagine and this. They just perfected it. For us, it's just versions of those.
Yeah.
يعني كسكسي بازين.
It's my favorite كسكسي غريب إنه
Yeah.
ليش كثير
Yeah,
بحبه.
because you're جزائرية أصلا احتمال something is calling you.
عم يطلب الجرعة.
Oh, Kim. K-I-M.
Okay, like Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Kim.
Good Singapore seafood restaurant. Okay.
K-I-M.
Nice.
So you live in Singapore and then you visit every once in a while, or you live here?
Because I came here for to interview two of entrepreneurs of Singapore, and then
To interview for what?
two entrepreneurs from Singapore.
Here.
Yes.
Interview for a magazine? Okay.
For
That live here?
For my write-up, yeah, they live here.
Okay.
One of them is one of the entrepreneurs that they've been living here for 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, there's two of them. And then I went to Fujairah so just to a couple of my write-up for my second novel. And then I have another interview in Philippines, which I have to go on the 30th. So I need to go back to Singapore.
But wait, you're an author, you write books, so that's one thing you do. Another
I'm
thing,
an author and I'm also a
journalist? Journalist, okay.
Journalist, yeah. So my journalist is, I've been for 3 years already, but I'm an author for about 6 years.
6 years.
Yes.
What's the name of your first novel?
The Living Secret. It's published in August 2019.
Wow, I have to
In
read
English?
it.
In English, yes.
Oh, okay.
Because for me, even though my mother tongue is Indian and also Indonesian, we speak English all the time.
In Singapore, there was a movement to make sure education is taught also in
Yes.
English, right?
Yes, our first language in Singapore is English, and
Yeah.
then the second language is our mother tongue.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, whether that's Malay or
Yes,
or
Malay,
Urdu.
Chinese, or Indian.
How would you compare there to Dubai? Because people say they model this city after that one.
Yes, correct. That's why when I come to Dubai, it's
Familiar?
museum based of Singapore, but
Okay.
it's a bigger version.
Bigger version.
Yes. So Singapore is smaller.
Serbian?
Yeah.
It's okay, Serbian the same dish.
Yeah.
And I can find it. Tell me what's the name?
I will give you.
Yes, even better.
We have plenty.
Yeah.
Okay. I a bit overcooked the chicken because
Yeah.
I'm using my friend's stuff, so I'm still not used to them. So we're done with this. I'll put it back.
Singapore, next month, everything is increasing. Our transport fees will be increasing. Our tax will be increased by 3%.
Wow.
Yes.
It's expensive to live.
I know it's overly
No.
expensive.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then they want to increase some of our, the eggs and what is it? Some of the meat also they increase. And Singapore is making so much hell of Singapore. And we suffer from flu disease in Singapore from China.
Oh, this coronavirus
Yes.
thing? Oh my God.
Now 72% is under quarantine now. It's
Oh my
increasing.
God.
So if I go back out there, I don't know.
Yeah, just take multiple masks.
Yeah, I never wore a mask in my life. I used to look at people, what are they doing?
I-
But I think I might.
Yeah, especially when you have kids, man.
What
It feels
our
like
Yeah.
I speak to Asma after this. I want to document our
Yeah, in
days.
China, there are 50 people. Okay, that's out of a billion.
Yeah.
So let's keep perspective. All of us, like we have a WhatsApp group with the family, everybody, but watch out, look what it is.
Yeah.
Dubai, and then Saudi, something happened. And I'm
They
like,
didn't filter the life for those people
Hmm?
coming from China. Hi, Safu. Yes.
It's weird, man. Every time this
I'm
breaks
here.
out and we're like freaking out.
9:30. Oh, okay. Then.
You're not eating fatta ladies?
أنا هاكل الصوص لكنه أنا ما
Not that gross.
you've always been vegetarian?
لا I've been for
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
No?
Okay, and what's coming on?
إيه؟
كيف التجربة؟
15 minutes.
كثير مريح.
عشان درجة يا
صح.
تعودي بعد فترة.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels more normal this way after it.
You see, I do not know that my flight is tonight because
What time is it?
is at
2
12 o'clock.
12.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I need to check in tonight, right?
So what time is it right now? Yes.
It's 9, 10.
So I have to be at the airport by 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you still have time.
Yes.
Even if you leave on time,
I know.
9:30, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's why. Luckily, they sent me a reminder. If not, I forgotten. I thought I have to check in tomorrow
Yeah,
to see. I missed out all.
Because it's after midnight,
Yes,
you thought it was the next day.
Yeah, I always missed out with this timing.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
really
really stupid.
stupid, actually.
Yes.
No, that's okay.
أنا وجهك أنا وجهك.
So, ask me.
Yes.
Is it okay if we take their contact and then we share?
No, it's not okay. You guys on the group together.
Oh, we're on the group already. That's
Ah,
true. I
yes,
didn't
alright,
realize.
okay.
That's my idea. But then there's other people in the group that we didn't meet.
So
yeah,
yeah, like what's happening? Please stop talking to us. Because once you're in some group and then the messages that you open,
Yeah, yeah,
230 messages now.
So,
Yeah,
before I
we
leave,
can.
I just want to get in touch with you guys.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'd like to discuss more. I want to write more about this thing because the interesting part, I'm going to make this interview with Euro TV in Philippines.
Okay.
So they need to have collaborate. So I need to still Asma, actually, but Asma, but I cannot. I don't know when I'll be coming back here.
Okay.
She'll be interviewing us.
Yes.
Yeah. Like put your
She wants to take us to Philippines. The royal family.
Yes.
So, inshallah, we'll make it happen.
Yes.
But this experience, should I put your baby or
No.
no? Hello.
Oh, I try a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
Yes,
course,
that's right.
Christina.
Yes, I must try.
I think this Zaha experience should go everywhere.
Yeah, like what we're doing, me and the consultant, we're just defining the matrix of the experiences.
Why is
So
it
basically,
so tasty?
yeah, it's the typical sun white rice. It's Egyptian.
Yeah.
It's the Egyptian one.
Chicken or
Oh no, I don't eat chicken.
At least the sauce.
the sauce?
Yeah,
I put chicken
ah.
sauce. Yeah.
So what we're doing is, like, this is the way I'm expressing my personal culture.
Yeah.
But I want to come up with a matrix where you, Adel, and Fiza can also come up with your own experiences.
Nice.
And the whole idea is to tap into what's within each one of us and build this bottom-up approach of exploring the big cultures and the places. So even on the impact, we're defining the impact. So we can see that people can see differently and can see more. And so this is basically growth.
Yeah.
And the more you get exposed to different interpretations and examples of a specific country or culture, the more you tend to accept, we hope to do this. And this is where we call it, it's kind of cultural intelligence, which is basically that would lead us to a suspension of judgment, hopefully in the future. And there is some sort of ownership because you know that this space actually does not judge you. So you just, came up with who you are and you just shared that, okay? Which does not happen other places.
Yeah.
So there's no definite knowing in Zaha, but the more varieties, the better the experiences.
And I think
So
this is
colorful.
the solution for racism.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the racism comes just from ignorance. and that
Ignorance. This is what we do.
compassion.
We're analyzing,
Yeah.
even in the contextual analysis, how we humans engage with the otherness of others.
Yeah.
So there is ignorance, which is to me equally dangerous. Like I would say so you would think of only turning our back or attacking or just allowing, okay? So ignorance to me is equally also dangerous to human evolvement. So what we try to do, this approach is to at least have this structured outlet through which people get exposed to our knowledge that would enable them to engage in a different way with the otherness of others, hopefully over time.
Yeah.
So, and this is where we're trying to get the right stakeholders here. We're talking to people in the government in Toronto.
Okay.
I talked to people in the government in the Nordic countries, and I spoke to 1,500 people so far.
Wow.
Yeah,
But
2
it's
years.
worth it.
I've applied to 45 grants. Last week we got 2 no's.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, because I see something, because I
Yeah.
feel something, and this is how I was actually, have been always driven. It's,
Nice.
maybe it started because of my pain, but now it's being generalized out of that, you
Yeah.
know, from
Yeah.
that, just to represent other people as well
Yeah.
in their stories.
Yeah.
So,
And it's perfect with the year of tolerance last year.
Yeah.
Because it's
yeah,
about
we
that, isn't
reached
it?
out to the Ministry of Tolerance, but I think hopefully we'll get to the right people.
Okay.
You know,
Good.
people will speak
Good.
because if
Yeah.
you listen to Sheikh Muhammad, he speaks our language. But people who are excluding, that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, so if you talk about personal culture, if you talk about cohesiveness, if you talk about being intentional, curiosity, coming together to really okay, and then okay, send us something. And I've sent so many things. Yeah, I mean, literally, I spent my weekends, أول سنة ونص, I would say for the first 18 months, just applying for grants.
Yeah.
And I don't take no as an answer. Next week I'm going to have a call with one of the people who sent me the no last week.
Bravo.
No, I want to tell her that you all show up wanting to support the entrepreneurs, but no one actually has
Yes.
the courage to navigate through the confusion with us. I let go of everything in my life and I want to do this on a bigger scale. And you can tell, like, I'm very genuine. I lost everything almost in my life to do this. And still, like, how would you define, like, how are you going to measure your impact?
Yeah.
And excuse me, allow me to create an impact. I can
And then I can
worry
measure it.
about measuring that, but you can
Yeah.
see the impact.
Yeah.
But then they're worried because they want to showcase to the donors that, their efforts are going somewhere. It's being measured.
But those are things like, how can you measure the
بالظبط.
intangible? How can you measure the knowledge
Yeah.
that you
Now
opened
you
up
see the
your door?
excitement of this lady,
Exactly. How
and
can
this
you
is
take it
multiplied.
and then show it to
I
them?
had a friend, Syrian, living in Jeddah, who's been to Zaha experience in November 2018. I met him this week. 2019, early December. He was visiting Dubai, and he told he's someone who considers himself as very open-minded, and he would travel to places to explore. To the experience he's been to, there was an Japanese lady who shared with us about how pressuring the culture is there. And how sometimes people don't experience who they are because they want to attain certain standards imposed.
Japanese is
Yeah.
very strict, huh?
This guy was traveling somewhere a few months later. He's like, I saw a Japanese couple, and the story of that lady struck me, of how, because he was trying to engage with them, they did not respond. So he said, if I didn't listen to that lady, I would have dropped it. خلاص. But then I tried a little bit more, and then they opened up. They were just non-stop talking for 2 hours because he saw the human
Exactly.
in them because of that lady sharing that story of, her experience with the culture, which is not necessarily everyone's interpretation of the Japanese culture, but it's someone's interpretation, which matters, which actually challenged my friend's story about the Japanese culture.
Yeah.
So to me, if I do this, like once at each experience, if we manage to shake sounds maybe kind of negative, but challenge this promising growth that you might change your narrative, to me, I've done my bit.
Yeah.
That's big, that courageous stakeholder that who would get on board and really, who's also genuine.
Yeah. Exactly. Not have a different agenda.
So
for a
I've been
different-
trying to get to people like Bill Gates Foundation. I'm trying to talk to people and Ishi cultures in Google. I've been everywhere. So I always say I wake up, I do my bit, and then I leave it.
That's the only bit that you
I
have
leave it.
control over
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and then let it go. Just surrender to how it'll. Just like a baby, isn't it? It's gonna take its time, the own pace. You're just here to support the project, but you can't.
But can you imagine at the beginning me conducting experiences at the home of someone, and then having someone recording, and people just it was a new concept for them. At least now we have people who tell people about it.
Three people, different
So
people
interesting.
told
This lady has heard of it from 3 people. So
that's
it's
beautiful, yeah.
It's all coming word of mouth.
and it's been only
It's more
happening.
stronger
Yes,
Definitely.
than social media.
So,
I agree.
I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
So now at least now we have our support system. Alhamdulillah, but at the beginning it was really harsh. I mean, it was even like your own family would challenge you, like, are you crazy? What are you, you're letting go of very promising career and doing this, and what's taking you?
Yeah, but think of anybody that's done anything that
Yeah, I
has
know.
meaning or impact. Everybody else is telling them you're crazy, it doesn't make sense, and this.
Yeah,
and
but
that.
now-
Including your dad, isn't it? Because he's
Yeah.
doing this purpose
In June-
regardless of
yeah,
the
but
result.
then in June was Ramadan, was the first year, and I called my father just to wish him a happy Ramadan, and he's like, yeah, my elder brother talked to him. He's like, I have no idea where Asma is taking this, how far she's going to go with this, and she's crazy, and she was one step away to be a partner. And so of course my father is a farmer, so he trusts my brother also, who's elder than me. He actually said, well, she's crazy, I'm gonna talk to her.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, Ramadan Kareem. He's like, yeah, but I've heard that you're doing this, and it's been happening for the last 6 months, and what's going to happen next? And I got so emotional because to me, I always say, my biggest audience are my parents. I don't care about the rest of the world, how they perceive me or my capacity. So I was like, I got so emotional that I told them, you know what, I'm a bit emotional now, can we talk later? So I took my time to sleep on it, and then I flew to Jordan, though I was living in, a very tight budget. I flew to Jordan just to meet with him, and I asked him, my sister was visiting in Jordan, so he joined us. And I told him, listen, you've trusted me to build something from scratch for E&Y, for this international company. You trusted me to work for other companies. And I'm going to trust me to build something that actually is in a complete alignment with the essence of who I am, which I give back. Have I ever disappointed you? He was like, no, just trust me.
Yeah.
So, going through this, and even to me, it was challenging to think of the engineering of the experience and to now create even different versions of it.
Yeah.
Some people chose to do the self-expression through herbs. Some people want to do this with arts. So you want to define the standard, the key components of it, but then you want to give people the space also, yes, to come up with their own. Because again, I have a limited perception on how people can express themselves. I'm aware of this endless ways of. So, yeah.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's,
No,
actually, our
my-
experience is coming to an end.
No, they say that they are here at the
No
bakery
worries.
shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. So have a safe flight.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to have had you.
Now you need to, how we do that quickly.
You mean the interview?
Yes.
Well, we'll coordinate.
No, because I want to do that before I go and meet the TV. How do I do?
So when are you going to meet them? I'm trying to tell you have a nice trip. We can talk later. We'll manage. Don't worry. We will manage.
Let me settle because I think I'm a little bit panicked.
I'm telling you, go and sit there.
Last minute, they asked me to buy this, buy that, and I think I will get everything at the airport, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Enjoy your time.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too, my dear.
We keep in touch.
Of course, and I'm gonna get your book. Get to see a part of you, another part of you.
What do you call?
A little bit. Pleasure meeting you. We'll be in contact. I think we have everybody.
Don't forget the okra.
Oh yeah, that
Yes.
This one I can put in the bag, right?
Yeah.
They don't.
You don't have to keep it in the fridge. It's okay.
No, I mean if in the
airport?
check-in.
Yeah, it's
It's
okra.
okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be.
I didn't stuff it with the.
Yeah, just don't
You
press.
know,
Yeah.
typical Singaporean, everything we need to check.
Check and examine. I'll just walk you out, lady.